The Boundary Park Alert System is sponsored by Pendle New Tech, a family-run Lancashire business you can rely on for everything fire safety related, including supply and installation, maintenance, testing, certification, alarms, risk assessments, like I said, anything fire safety related. But what do I know? Visit pendlenewtech.com and they'll sort you right out. Check the show notes for more information.
This is a test of the Boundary Park Alert System.
Hello and welcome to the Boundary Park Alert System with me, Matt Dean. I'm joined by Andy Halliwell in that London. You alright, mate?
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I didn't make it to the game yesterday, as you know.
No. Well, unfortunately, we left with an unfamiliar, very bitter taste of defeat in our mouths, which we've not tasted for a while. But yeah, brought us back down to earth a little bit of a reality check. We'll go into it in a lot more detail shortly. But those who were paying attention last week, Andy, will already know who the fan guest is this week, won't they?
Yeah, I gave it away, didn't I? Yeah.
But we still have a ritual that we must adhere to, so please take it away.
I don't think you've been on for a while, have you, Paul?
No, Southend, that glorious opening day in 23. I'll see you.
Wow.
Yeah,
You've got previous then, haven't you? You've got previous. You shouldn't.
Yeah, it's not good, is it?
Yeah, it's not good.
Let's do the questions anyway. Your first game. Well, I know it was 1986.
Yeah, 2 weeks before yours, Andy. 22nd of November '86.
Yeah.
I'd been mithering my dad from about August onwards that I wanted to see his team, Oldham Athletic. Before then, from his sins, because there's Scouse connections in the family, I started the '86 Cup final as an Everton fan. By the end of the game, I was a Liverpool fan. That carried through to the Charity Shield, and then I noticed that this little team that my dad supported was winning pretty much every week at the start of the season, and I mithered, and by November he finally gave in. So yeah, 22nd of November '86, we beat Palace 1-0, and Tommy Wright got the winner.
Was it a night? Was it a night game that?
No. The night game was a couple of weeks. We actually played a couple that season on Friday nights. We played Portsmouth on a Friday and Millwall on a Friday.
Yeah, I remember there being a few Friday night games. Who was your first?
We're already into Latics Mine territory. We've only been going 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. Right, I'm gonna ruin. So we've got no right, and that never really works for podcast. Hang
on, we're losing you a bit, Andy.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
Yeah.
That's annoying. So we've got.
You're back now.
I'm back. We've got no podcast next week because it's the Easter weekend. And that never works. So the phone in will pick up the slack. And then the week after, we've got Paddy Harwood as the fan guest. So I might as well tell you who's coming on that one. So we've got Paul Prendergast and Paddy Harwood back to back. So I've had to come up with some absolutely stinking Latics Mine questions this week to try and catch these two out.
Absolutely. I presume you're giving the same tranche of questions to Paddy as well. These are special questions.
Special questions. So it's based on equal territory. We've gone up to expert level on questions for these two.
Yeah. But
that's
it. That's good.
We'll get to that later. Carry on with the intro. Who's your first favourite?
Andy, Andy, sorry, just do us a favour and just go on to audio only because it just seems to be struggling. Right, crack on with your question, mate.
Who was your first favourite player, Paul?
Yeah, no surprises really. Seeing as he scored the winning goal in my first game, it was Tommy Wright. I was absolutely devastated when he left for Leicester in the summer of '89, and since then, really, it's just switched around. Probably the most recent favourite player was probably Sean Gregan. Just absolutely colossal at the back. But yeah, Tommy Wright all day. Really tough when he come back briefly in '97, and quite happy when he come back as Sheds' assistant manager, and just quite a nice guy to talk to. Although he tarnished his reputation somewhat, didn't he, when he was all over the newspapers? But we won't go too much into that.
Oh yeah, exactly. What is your favourite ever away game? I don't think we asked you that question before.
Yeah, I've really thought about this, and there's the obvious ones like York and Fulham and Forest and stuff and Everton, but I'm going to go obscure. 2004, Swindon Town away, we won 2-1, and it pretty much secured safety. We just needed a point the week after at home to Chesterfield. And after the summer we'd had and the season of upheaval and going into administration, against all odds, we'd actually survived, and that meant the absolute world. And I was absolutely buzzing.
Yeah. Tough time that. Yeah. And give us a little known fact about yourself, a different one from the last one, if you answered this question before.
Yeah, you didn't ask me these questions last time, but I've really thought about this and really dug away at trying to think of something that maybe I haven't shared that often with people. And something came to me that I haven't thought about for years. But my mum's cousin was actually a professional footballer, a guy called Paul Crossley. He started his career at Rochdale. He played for Tranmere and Chester, but in between that, he moved to America, and he played for Baltimore Blasts and a couple of other teams. And he actually played alongside Harry Redknapp for a while. And so, unfortunately, Paul passed away in 1996. Fortunately, he had a heart attack while coaching. And so that's a little known fact. He was a left winger, scored best part of 100 goals throughout his career. Played a lot of games for Tranmere, played over 200 games for Tranmere, played about 100 games for Rochdale, and had quite a lengthy spell in the first incarnation of the American Soccer League, the NASL. So there's pictures of him apparently with Pele and Beckenbauer, and he played against people like George Best and Pele and Beckenbauer, but played with Redknapp as well. And I got in touch with Harry Redknapp's agent a few years ago, and he actually put me in touch with Harry, and I had quite a nice email conversation with him where we shared some memories and that, because there's no surviving family members of Paul's over here really. I'm obviously quite a distant relative, but all his family were over in America, and unfortunately I haven't been able to contact any of them on behalf of my mum and that. But yeah, I just thought it'd be quite a nice story to share that.
Oh, it's nice of Harry Redknapp as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and you never know who might be listening to the world famous Boundary Park alert system over in America. So we'll see how that unfolds. But yeah, you are. Well, we know who you are, Paul. We don't need to chant who are you, but just introduce yourself formally for the listeners, please.
Yeah, my name is Paul Prendergast. Probably more known for being OFC Prozac on JK Latics or When the Blues, Twitter, now X. So yeah, a lot of people know who I am. And
you've also recently become a director at the Supporters Foundation, haven't you?
I have, yeah. For my sins, last June. Great bunch of lads, very hard working. Sign up today.
Yeah, it's only £12 a year.
Yeah,
but obviously Lattice Mind is sponsored by Oldham Lady Disposal Foundation, so there's a good connection there. Right, lads, 8.5 minutes into the recording, we have to get down to business, and that business is the defeat at Gresty Road yesterday. Paul, I presume you were there amongst the noisy 1600.
Yeah, I think I was the only sober one, to be honest.
No, I was sober as well, actually. It was a good atmosphere.
Yeah,
well attended, noisy. I tell you what, I was very surprised by how much we dominated the first sort of half hour of the game. We were all over them. We had all the possession. We were knocking it about. I thought it was going to be a different type of game, but it started off with us well on top, didn't it?
Yeah, I thought we did dominate, but I thought we were giving the ball away too much. And they came with a plan. And they knew we'd try and hit them on the break, so they played very deep and tried to hit us on the break. And at times it did work, because as much as we had a lot of the game, we were giving the ball away a lot. So we were leaving the back door open a little bit. I thought Sutton had a bit of a torrid time at times, but to counter that, I thought he was probably our biggest threat in the first half down that right hand side. But then he'd win the ball and then get wrong side and give it away again and put us back under pressure. But when we took the lead, we certainly deserved it. And then we just seemed to go to sleep a little bit for 5-10 minutes, and then they just did a speculative effort. Probably maybe catches Matt flat-footed a little bit, maybe a little bit of unsightedness, and they're back in it. And then it's game on, isn't it, after that?
Yeah. Did you manage to catch any of the game, Andy?
I saw the whole of the second half. So I was out in the morning because it was my wife's birthday. So me and the kids went out with her. And we got back and I stuck the second half on. So I didn't see any of the first half, although I saw the goal. I mean, just what Paul said there. I watched the second half. It was probably all them for the first 15 minutes of the second half, wasn't it? And then we started to dominate after that. And we had a lot of the ball in the second half, but we just didn't really do anything really seriously threatening with it. Paul's right. They sat deeper. Teams are going to work us out. Those teams with the high line that have been caught out with our pace are going to work us out. And they sat deeper. And I think we struggle sometimes to open teams up at home when they do sit back. And it was a bit like that yesterday. We just don't quite have that cutting edge to get through. We got behind a couple of times and we just didn't deliver a decent ball into the box. So it was a bit frustrating. It was a bit sloppy. I don't know if you ever notice. I mean, I probably get to see more games on the telly because you two will be able to go to Boundary Park more often than I will. When the stats come up, if we often have less of the ball than the opposition for a start. We didn't yesterday. We had more of the ball than them, I think. But our pass completion percentage is always way lower than everyone else. It's like 50-odd%. Like we were almost giving the ball away at least 1 in 2. So that is something that needs to be worked upon. But I mean, I don't know where you come down on it. My sort of overriding emotion was we were going to get beat at some point. I thought it would have been on Tuesday against Notts County, and I was completely and utterly wrong. So the fact that we've come this far is good. Let's see if that loss might be a good thing in a way, because it will jolt them into making sure that they come out firing on all cylinders at Colchester on Friday.
I mean, the thing is, the nature of the defeat, it's disappointing. It was disappointing because it was a draw all day long, that game. I thought both teams played well. I thought Crewe defended really well. I thought on the whole we defended well. It was an entertaining enough game of football. It ebbed and it flowed. Like we were in it, they were in it. It was a good game, and it was obviously an important game, and you could tell there was a lot riding on it. But you don't get very often two shots like that, 2 hits like that find the back of the net in the same game. They were both absolute belters there to their 2 strikes. I mean, I think the one in the first half got the wind, caught it, and that helped it along the way. I think Hudson probably had the sun in his eyes as well, but it was a fantastic strike. The pitch opened up for him, and he went for it, and it went in. And the second strike, I mean, obviously it came from the free kick that he gave against Fondop for the majority of football's history. That's a perfectly good tackle. I thought it was a perfectly good tackle yesterday as well, but it came from the free kick. We were on a break then from that tackle, which we were denied. But we had a chance to deal with it. We didn't deal with it. Drops to him on the edge of the area again. Absolutely brilliant strike, brilliant finish. And we've been dishing that out, haven't we? We've been finishing games, winning games by a couple of moments of quality. They did that to us yesterday. It was a bitter pill to swallow because I thought we deserved a point out of it. But I've got no complaints, and with the performance or with the effort, they're working really hard. They're grafting. You can see how disappointed they were at the end. The fans, Paul, all stayed right till the death to clap them off the pitch, and rightly so. So it's disappointing because Crewe have obviously edged a couple of points ahead of us, but it doesn't matter now where they are. It matters at the end of the season, and there's 7 teams fighting, and we are legitimately in that race now. We like you said, Andy, we're always going to drop points at some point. I think to pick up a point yesterday would have been fair, but that's not the way it goes in football, unfortunately. But we're in it, Paul. We're in the mix. It's going to be tough, but it's going to be equally tough for every other team that's in that chasing pack now. We're all kind of on a level footing, aren't we?
Yeah. The other thing I'd add to what you've said there, Matt, is a couple of things. First thing, yeah, the fans were magnificent yesterday. The reaction to that second goal was superb, and thoroughly got behind the team. Praised them at the end, really loud. Really well done to everybody. The second thing is I thought the 2 goals were avoidable, and the reason why I think that was I thought we conceded too much space around the edge of our box. I think long range efforts coming at us, and I think they've worked out that anything close to Hudson, 1-on-1, playing someone in, he's really good at blocking. I think if he has got a little bit of a weakness, Hudson, it can be shots from distance sometimes. But
he made a great save from distance from O'Reilly yesterday, who had a good shot.
Yeah.
I think the nature of those 2 strikes, I don't think any goalie were going to get near them.
The second one's an absolute worldie. Yeah, the second one is an absolute worldie, but I don't think we've helped him by conceding that space in midfield.
I agree.
And I think at least half the team looked a little bit jaded yesterday for me. I thought Drummond looked off it a little bit, potentially because he's just had a baby. He might be having sleepless nights. Yeah. I thought Pet looked knackered. I thought Payne...
Stevens looked off it, didn't he?
Yeah, Stevens. Yeah. That's the one. But I thought Payne went back to what he'd been previously, not affecting the game as much as he could have done. But it is going to catch up with us. We've played what we played this month, 7 games this month, and we've now got 4 games in the next 11 days. So it's not going to get any easier. We've got a long trip to Colchester, and then we've got another 2 to Shrewsbury and Barrow. In between, we've got MK Dons at home. So we probably are running on fumes. Like you said, that defeat was always coming, but. Having said that, I keep saying that. In that great run we've had, we've got away with it a couple of times.
Oh, definitely.
We worked great against Harrogate. Grimsby could have gone either way. So you know what? We got bonus points there. Crewe for me are the one team that's played us off the park this season at Bramley Park. I thought they absolutely battered us. We could have won it late on ourselves, but I think they hit the woodwork 3 times, and they absolutely played us off the park. So maybe that's payback for nicking a point that day. So overall, we probably are still a point up, and we've gained those couple of cheeky wins. The 2-1-0s at home to Grimsby and Harrogate, where we weren't great. So yeah, we go again over Easter, and as I said on X last night, the unbeaten run is dead. It started on Friday. Long live the unbeaten run. So let's do it again.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, you don't always get what you deserve out of a football match, and that works both ways. Sometimes you don't get what you deserve, as in you don't get enough, and sometimes you get more than you deserve. And we've had games earlier on in the season at home where we've battered teams, created loads of chances, and finished. They've taken points away from Boundary Park. So it is what it is. I think. In terms of the squad and the development and all that, there is more legs probably needed in it. But having said that, there is some strength coming in as well. I thought there was a period when, in fairness to Mickey Mellon, and we'll listen to his interview in a minute. In fairness to Mickey Mellon, he didn't mess about with Payne. He realised that Payne wasn't affecting the game enough, brought him off and brought Kavanagh on. That was curious to some people that we were chatting around whether Kavanagh was the right substitution, whether it should have been Hammond. I think probably I would have gone for Hammond, but at the same time, you want Kavanagh to get minutes in his legs to help towards the rest of the season. So maybe that was his thinking. I thought when
Kavanagh had been brilliant in before he got injured. He'd really formed a great partnership in that front four.
Yeah.
I've got no problem. It would help if he put his boots on the right feet before he came on.
Well, that was the thing. It was because it was such a tough game and a tricky game, and so competitive. The fact that he'd been out with an injury maybe wasn't quite up to speed. But he's never I had this conversation with my brother yesterday because he was saying he would have preferred Hammond than I probably would. But I was like, well, Kavanagh's not going to get back up to full sharpness unless he gets games time on the pitch. So there's that. That's the other thing. But then I thought Hawkes came on and did really well. I think we looked more like a 4-4-2 at the start of the second half, and I think that helped Crewe. They were dominant. They were picking up the ball a lot more in the middle of the park because it wasn't as congested. And it didn't really start to work for us in that second half until Hawkes came on, and he started linking up really well with Robson down the left-hand side. And like you said earlier on, Paul, it was all going down the right-hand side in the first half, and then in the second half, it was mostly coming down the left-hand side. And he looked lively, Hawkes, for a while, but then he kind of drifted out of the game again, didn't he? He sort of that was the kind of game it was. It was kind of ebbing and flowing, and there was lots of people, the players and the managers were figuring out what was going on and who needed to be picked up and who needed to be tightened up on and all that kind of stuff. So it was a really good game of football. And it was like, it was just a shame that Will Sutton's header, he didn't get over it. He just got under it, didn't he? He had a free header really, and he should have done better. But it all happens in a flash, doesn't it? You find yourself on the end of it and you just get your body position a little bit wrong and it hits the bar. So it was unlucky.
There was one from Fondop as well, where if Fondop had left it, Manny had a free header on the back post, which I'm absolutely positive he would have nodded it in. But Mikey being Mikey, he's just single-minded, and he's got to go for it. But another thing as well is we don't score the 2 goals that they score because we don't shoot. And if we do shoot, it's either powder puff or it's absolutely wayward. And that's something we need to work on. We need to work on our long distance shooting. We need to bring in the summer a midfielder that can score at an odd worldie. Because even going back to people like Sheeran had, all right, he wasn't the greatest midfielder, but he could strike a ball. Going further back, your Redferns and your Richardsons, your Duxburys, we're just lacking that accuracy in midfielding shooting, and we need a midfielder that can score us 5, 6, 7 goals a season, I think. And because games like that, it's tight. They score a goal that 99 times out of 100 they're probably not going to score to win it, but we don't seem to have that in our locker. We don't score many from outside the box. Drummond apart against Bristol Rovers, I can't really remember too many from long range. There's been a couple of efforts from Markey, but both of them were quite speculative, weren't they? But someone who can actually get their head over the ball and actually just strike confidently.
It's true. I mean, it dropped to Pett and Woods a couple of times yesterday, where they don't really get the laces behind it, like you said. But yeah, it's look, and this all comes down to the fact that we're building a squad, we're building a team, and we've got so many good parts to the team, and on the whole, performances have been really good. There's obviously improvements that can be made, and you can pick holes in performances and whatnot. But what a great run we've been on, and at the end of the day, yesterday we were unlucky. So anyway, let's listen to the gaffer. Let's see what his thoughts are on yesterday's rare defeat against Crewe.
Mickey, a really tough one to take this afternoon.
Yeah, listen, you've got to take them. You've got to move on. All the rest of it, learn from it. All the rest of it. But I thought we played well second half. I really did. I thought we played some really good stuff. I thought maybe been that wee bit clinical, and we've lost to 2 really, really sensational strikes, and that was probably the tail of the game. We had a lot of territorial and a lot of the ball in the second half. maybe could have done a wee bit better with it sometimes, but created some decent little opportunities. But to lose it when we did, right at the very end, is obviously a sore one to take. But we'll go over it and we'll go again.
It was a perfect start in many ways, wasn't it, with Kane scoring again?
Yeah, really good goal. Shifted on his left foot and a really good finish. And against a really strong wind that disappeared second half. But listen, we obviously were disappointed that we lose it so late into the game. It's difficult to lose at any time, but to lose when we did was a sore one.
Conceding within 5 minutes of scoring the first, does that then change the course of the game?
Well, it makes it difficult, but I don't think the boy's ever going to score a goal like that again in his life, as he's hit it from under his feet and the wind obviously assisted, and it's a terrific strike from the lad. And but we battled away gamely, and I hate to say it, but because I don't enjoy when managers say that they don't deserve to lose. But I would have to think that we were in that bracket this afternoon. But we've got to maybe, I don't know, defend that little moment a wee bit better at the edge of the box. I've just had a wee look back. Maybe people can do a wee bit better. But no, we'll dust ourselves and we'll go again.
You mentioned the territory and the chances we had in the second half. The introduction of Josh Hawkes, that added a lot to it.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought he came on and he did really well. I thought it was that wee bit of spark that we needed on that left-hand side. Kane was getting his good spark this side. We needed that wee bit from him, and he certainly gave us that.
Kai went off half time. Was that out of choice? Or
no, he's got a tight hamstring, so we don't need to be losing any players at the minute. We just made between us, we made a professional decision on that one.
Good to see Callum Kavanagh back.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was good to see him back. That will do him good. That half a game.
And just finally, obviously the unbeaten run has come to an end. It's been a 10-match unbeaten run. It's been a terrific run over recent weeks, hasn't it? And the message is to go again now.
Start another one. You go again. This is football. You have to take your defeats properly. We will learn from it, and we will go again. We'll be ready to go again. We'll be next week, and keep going. We're in a terrific position. Obviously, today is very raw, and devastated that we couldn't get something out of the game. Superb support. The support was magnificent, and stayed with us right until the end. And even at the end of the game, they absolutely stayed with us. So we will win and lose together.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mickey, disappointed, obviously, but I think he probably feels the same way that we all did, really. He kind of sort of made the similar points that we've all made. It was just one of those days, I'm afraid. So we have to move on. And with the, like you said before, Paul, loads of games coming up now. I mean, it's either going to be... It might just be a bit too much for the legs and for the squad. That's the concern. But I mean, Colchester has to be a winnable game, based on the fact that their season's kind of, a bit of a dud. They got a draw against Walsall yesterday, but we've got to fancy our chances at getting something down there. Tough game then against MK Dons at home. That's going to be a really tough game. Hopefully they'll feel like being quite cavalier and play with a nice high line and not sit back. But yeah, it'd be really exciting if it just went all the way down to the last game of the season, Paul, wouldn't it? I mean,
yeah.
The obvious one, I mean, we were already promoted, but in order to win the title in 91, that went down to the last game of the season. There was a home game against Bradford as well, that we needed to win to stay in League One. Yeah. I'm pre-Latics minding you here. What are the final days that something is relied on that you can think of? Obviously,
right. So
Southampton at home.
In the time I've been a fan, you got Southampton in '93 where we had to win to stay up. Reading in '99 to stay in what is now League One. Bradford at home in 2005 to stay in League One.
Yeah.
And then obviously we had to win at Northampton.
Yeah.
And we got relegated into League Two. But just going back to this season, walking out of Swindon, the season was over. The season was absolutely done with, and potentially we were starting to maybe we needed to look over our shoulders a little bit, because because that run of form had come from nowhere. He changed the formation, but we conceded 9 goals in 3 games, and we're thinking, wow, something's going wrong here. But if you'd have told us then that we'd only lose one of the next 11, and we'd have a real chance of getting into the playoffs, then it's been a phenomenal success this season. Because let's be honest, who truly thought we were ready to go up last season? Because the second half of the season wasn't great, and then we just completely reset in the playoffs and just blew those 3 teams away. Yes, we nicked it against Southampton, but we absolutely dominated that game. But we didn't have a proper pre-season this season. Recruitment was it way towards having stayed in the National League. And the first half of the season, certainly the first couple of months was quite tentative. We didn't always get what we were deserving. And then from the middle of February, I think Mickey's been happy with the points total, and it's a case of, right, we can take the stabilisers off a bit here now and actually go for it, and let's see where it takes us. And with 7 games left to have a real chance of getting into the playoffs, it's great. It's fantastic. It keeps everybody's interest alive. I'm sure season tickets are going to be on sale in the near future, and that generates interest as well, doesn't it? So no matter what happens now over the next 7 games, it has been a successful first season back, and we should be flying at the start of next season. If recruitment's good over the summer, we keep hold of the players we want to keep hold of. Let's have a proper go next season. But this season's not over yet. Let's see what happens over the next 6 weeks.
Yeah. Sorry, go on, Andy.
So I say, if you have a look at the games that are left, so Crewe. So if you assume it's, I don't know what you're looking at. I'm looking at 1 from 4 now. We're in that 4, aren't we? But if you look at Crewe's fixtures, they've got Accrington away on Good Friday. And then they've got to play Salford, Grimsby, MK Dons, Chesterfield and Cambridge. That's really not an easy running at all.
No,
when you look at Grimsby's fixtures, Grimsby have got an easier set of fixtures in there, but they've got to play Chesterfield. So that's 2 playing each other. So one of them's dropping points there. They've also got Swindon and Cambridge in Swindon, Cambridge and Crewe in that little run. Chesterfield themselves, obviously they're playing Grimsby. They've got to play Crewe. They've got to play Swindon. So everyone's going to drop points, I think, out of that little pack. So obviously we're with Grimsby have now got a game in hand on us and are in front of us. So I'd probably put them favourite. I've probably had them favourite, but we're not out of it, and we can have a go in these games. And like Paul said, I think everyone's attitude is whatever will be will be. There doesn't where last season there was serious pressure on us. We'll come on to the numbers in a minute. There was serious pressure on us to get out of that league because of the financial implications of it. There isn't the pressure this time. I don't feel the pressure. I don't think anyone feels the pressure on the terrace. Of course, we'd love to have a crack at it, and while we're close, you want to get in. But if we don't, it's not the end of the world, and that feels a bit more liberating, I think, doesn't it?
100%. And look, we're not guaranteed a top 10 finish or a top 12 finish as it stands, but it's looking like a minimum it'll be a top half finish. And it possibly a top 10 finish and possibly better than that as well. So it's a really, really good first season back in the EFL. And you know what? You're right to mention that the financial pressures, and we are going to come on to that shortly, but it was that last season in the National League, like that, when the when the fixtures were announced, that at the start of that season, and it was Braintree, and it was just the list of it, and it was like, oh god, it was like this division is getting worse. You know, obviously this season it would have been a little bit sort of, well, it would be more competitive, but there was some better sort of trips away and things like that on paper. But it was after in the third season, it was all getting a bit, this could be a real drag. And so it was the relief as much as anything when we finally got out of there. And now League Two is, after putting up with that for 3 seasons, is really not that bad in comparison. But League One, is the promised land in terms of getting back to where we started. That's where it all started. It's where it all went wrong. So we've got to get back up to there, and then we can think about kicking on from there.
We're the fire experts, fire safety experts at Pendle New Tech. We train fire marshals, fire safety marshals at Pendle New Tech.
Pendle New Tech have fire experts across the UK covering all your local and national needs. With over 100 years experience in the fire safety industry, you know that you can trust
Pendle New Tech.
Right, enough of that now.
Andy, you have been looking at lots of numbers over the week. Do you want to tell us what you've been looking at and why?
As well as researching Latix Man questions, it's kept
right,
busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, our accounts have been announced, so let's probably start there. We lost £3.9 million in our final season in the National League, which is £800,000 worse than the year before, where we lost 3.1 million. And they're really big numbers, aren't they? They're really big numbers. So we are now, £14 million in the red, and we have in effect been propped up by £11.5 million worth of funding from the Rothwells to keep that going, basically. So we're entirely and utterly beholden to them and the money that they put forward to keep us afloat. Our accounts don't include, because we don't have to, because of the size of the club, they don't include any information on player salaries. However, somewhat helpfully this week, if everybody has, I should probably say this, people like Mike Keegan, who was obviously a Latics fan and covers the club across his professional duties, does a sterling job supporting Latics and producing some great content. So if you can afford to subscribe to the articles, I know it helps him personally in his job when he's writing those articles, then do so. But in his article, it's a couple of articles that he's produced this week, he talked about the salary spend for our final season in the National League being £3.1 million. So that's the first time we've seen it confirmed, I guess, as to what our salary was, £3.1 million. So we've anywhere between £2.5 and £3 million has been the numbers banded about, but there we go, 3.1 million. Now, again, this is what we've been saying for the last few weeks when other clubs have been publishing their accounts for people to have a look at. And you may remember me talking about teams like Peterborough and Barnsley in previous weeks. I'll just mention now Lincoln City. So Lincoln City are top of League One, completely and utterly outperforming everybody else, especially when you take into account budget. But I've got their accounts up. So Lincoln City revenue in 24-25, so remember this is last season, was £8.5 million, and their wages £7.5 million last season. So Lincoln City are operating at about 90% cost to income ratio, which is, very, very, very high when you consider you've got all of your other on costs to come on top of that. So they're making a loss. In fact, their loss last season was just under £3 million. So we lost 3.9 in the National League. Lincoln City lost £3 million in League One last season. And that just puts into perspective, I think, that they're probably the best case. In fact, I think we've got a small clip we can play. Darren Royal was interviewed on BBC Manchester Radio, and there's a tiny little clip of his comment in relation to this particular subject matter.
For us, it's about doing something that's sustainable long term as well. So, we're all up for promotions and campaigns in leagues above, but it's got to be at a pace that allows us to compete there. And you look at the league above and the average losses are frightening. But there are clubs up there. Lincoln's a great example where they've got a similar, in the same ballpark budget to us. Not, they're significantly more, but not significantly more like some of the other teams below them. So We've got to do it at a pace where it allows us to build.
Darren was basically saying in that interview, he was using Lincoln as a barometer, saying they've got a competitive budget. But as I said, if ours is £3.1 million and Lincoln is £7.5 million, not directly comparable. And here are some of the losses that the clubs have made in League One. Barnsley, £6.6 million, Bristol Rovers 7, Burton 8.3, Charlton lost 15 million getting promoted last season. Leyton Orient 4.6, Wycombe Wanderers lost 9.9 million. We lost 3.9. Now, one hopes that when you see the accounts for 25-26 in a year's time, maybe our losses won't be as much because we'll have more income from being in League Two, and hopefully our wages won't have increased at the same pace. And that's good news for the Rothwells and good news for the club. But the only way really that we get to be able to compete with a League One budget is we have to sell players. We said it last week. It's the only way. We have to increase revenue from sources that we don't currently have. So kind of looping it back, for me, if we don't go up this season, I'd love us to go up, love us to have a crack at League One next year. But if we don't, it might be a blessing in disguise in some way because you'll have another year to get ready.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's the clubs that have done it, the clubs that have fired through. You know, your likes of Stockport and Wrexham, they've chucked a massive amounts of money at it. Lincoln are a bit more like us in that, you know, they were down in the National League. You know, they beat us, didn't they, in the FA Cup when they were in the National League and they were on their rise. And so it gives you hope, doesn't it, that it can be done. But it's tough, and it's getting tougher every single season. And with the thing is, like Paul, you mentioned before about that Swindon game that you away in 2004, and you know, off the back of having all your eggs in one basket with a particular owner who, you know, turns out to not be what you want it to be. You know, I don't put the Rothwells in that same category. However, they have a finite amount of resources, and the conversation about money, unfortunately, is a really, really important one. You know, we would love sport to be pure and not be so, you know, dependent on money, but they are businesses and they do have to be sustainable. And it's something that needs to be considered, especially when you have to temper expectations along the way. So there are obviously plans with things like Sportstown to try and make additional funding available through the club in a more sustainable way, because you just cannot expect, and nor is it I don't think it's healthy for the game either, where you've got benefactors throwing unsustainable amounts of money at clubs, because I think it's bad for the whole game. I think it just creates this false sense of, we've seen it over and over again when it goes wrong. So, Paul, I guess, you know, as the director of OASF, you're having conversations with the rest of the board and with the club board. And how are you feeling, and how is the OASF board feeling about the future and how sustainable the club may or may not be, if as and when we get promoted up to League One?
Yeah, we have a great relationship with the board of the club, and there is a constant open dialogue, and it brings home the importance of OASF, but it also brings home the importance of building up the academy again, because we build the academy up, we're producing our own players, that saves transfer fees, and God willing, some of the academy graduates could be good enough to sell on for a healthy profit. So with that in mind, I'd say sign up for the lottery, because that does helps fund the academy. Sign up for OASF because, yeah, everything's rosy in the garden at the moment. But one thing we can learn from the past is that things do go wrong sometimes, and whether that be in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, hopefully, OASF will be there to pick up the slack and like you guys did previously, have that dialogue with potential investors. You've only got to look at what's happened at Morecambe and what's that's going wrong very, very quickly by the looks of it. Tranmere have got new owners, but nobody seems to know who they are, which doesn't augur well There's been very little information released about that. But to bring it back to us, we need to recruit players that we can sell on for a profit. More Robos and Hudsons, those types of players. Maybe Kavanagh if he develops over the next couple of years, and then let's start bringing players through. I go and watch a lot of the academy. I even go and watch the B-Tech lads when I get a chance. So we've got about 50 B-Tech lads that play on a Wednesday afternoon. Mainly it's an educational programme, but the actual academy under Danny Philliskirk has made great strides this season. At the start of the season, they couldn't buy a win, and now they're really, really competing. They've improved in a very short space of time. So hopefully, some of those lads going into the second year might start getting chances in the Football League Trophy next season, maybe. But to bring it back, the only thing certain in football is eventually your investors will pull out. So that's why OASF are so important. So sign up today, have a voice, and help to contribute to the 1895 fund with our various initiatives. Lego Latics Stadium's coming soon. Thanks to everybody that bought the stickers, because that helped to raise a fair bit of money for the coffers and the academy as well, which we'll be donating further down the line. But with regards to our relationship with the board, it's a very healthy one. It's a fluid one. I can't go into too much, but we've been having discussions about various things over the last couple of weeks, and all will be revealed in the next week or two of our input into those initiatives.
There's so many lessons, and that's been the key. You know, there's been so many lessons in our own history. Never mind like what happens to other clubs. It's all happened to us. We know what can go wrong, and so we're in a good position now where we've got the lessons of those experiences, and we can apply them. And like you said, Andy, like creating a vibrant academy that young players want to come to, creating assets that we can sell on. You've got to think about. It's got to be thought of like that. And this period of stability and creating stability has come at a price. You know, there's a lot of things that have needed investing in at the football club. I mean, we needed a brand new squad, didn't we? We needed to like replace everybody. We needed to spend money on absolutely everything at the club. So hopefully that can kind of start to settle down a little bit. And I think it's not just all about talent. I think successful clubs and successful teams have the right spirit, have the right leadership. You can get a lot out of a team if it's well managed and well run. You know, that often, you know, a team would be greater than the sum of its parts, kind of thing. You know, and I think that's kind of where we've got to this season, and you need that. And being the plucky underdog is not necessarily a bad thing. And we've got a history of being successful as underdogs. So I think the future's looking good, but we have to be very, very wary of it. And I think the OASF have kind of moved into a position where they're very much focused on things like the academy, aren't they? And helping to understanding what is important in the future of the club in order for it to be more sustainable, and where the value lies. And so by getting back behind OASF, you are getting behind initiatives that will do things like support the academy, and hopefully we'll get some incredible sign-on clauses. We'll get somebody who goes on to end up signing for Real Madrid or something, and you know, and we'll get a massive payday. And I'm sure the Rothwells will be delighted when that happens. And then obviously, like we said, we've got Sports Town and all these other things, and we've got Andy Halliwell now keeping a close eye on everything. So that's another safeguard that helps the future of the club, isn't it, Andy?
Well, I mean, Kieran Maguire is a source of most of my information. Thankfully, he spells it out. He spells it out in full technicolor. But it is. We are very fortunate because the Rothwells don't appear. They appear to be completely, smitten with their investment, and they really enjoy it and they love it. And I feel really buoyed when I see their smiling faces at games. But like Paul said, inevitably, eventually every owner will leave, and so that will happen one day, whether it happens because they fall out of love with it, or whether they can't afford it anymore, or whatever it may be. And so we have to be thinking now of years ahead. You can't just blindly walk into the future and then complain when it all goes pop. So, yeah. I mean, the Rothwells did say when they first took the club on that they would look for more investment. And I think that probably is something that they will have to do at some stage. But it doesn't look like that's anytime soon. And I hope that they're happy and continue to be able to afford what they've done so far.
Yeah.
Should we do Latics Mind?
Yeah, let's do
it. Are you ready, Paul?
No. You're going to proper throw me under the bus here. I just know you are.
Well, I mean...
Well done, Paddy. Congratulations.
You need
No. Paddy's got the same set.
Yeah, you need to be tested, you two. You are the abnormalities in the fan base as far as knowledge goes. Like, you are held to a higher level. So let's see how you get on. I'm looking forward to see to hear what you've dug up here, Andy. So yeah, well, best of luck, Paul.
Yeah, thank you.
Latics Mind is sponsored by Oldham Athletic Supporters Foundation, investing in the fans, the club and the community. Join today at oasf.co.uk for just £12 a year. OASF, because we're stronger together.
Latics reached the FA Cup semi-final in 1913. Who did they defeat in round 3 in a replay away after a 0-0 draw at Boundary Park?
Not a clue. Manchester United.
Correct.
Wow.
In 2006-2007, Latics qualified for the League One playoffs. However, what was our league record in won, drawn and lost after the first 6 games?
We didn't win any. 0.
Wrong. We won 1, drew 1, lost 4.
Top, yeah.
In
Swansea.
In 1962-63, Jack Rowley led Latics to promotion from Division 4 as runner-up to who?
Was it Rochdale?
No, it was Brentford. Latics had to win on the final day to secure promotion that season. They faced Hartlepool United. What was the score?
No chance. 2-1.
6-1. For a bonus point, who scored a hat-trick that day?
62-63. Was it Gemmell?
It was Jimmy Frizzle. Jimmy Frizzle managed Latics to promotion from Division 4 in 1970-71, finishing 3rd. Name one of the 2 strikers that scored over 20 goals that season.
Brighton Shaw.
Correct. In total, how many seasons did Lee's Brewery appear as the first team shirt sponsor of Latics?
So it was 83 to 89, so that's 6. And then... Yeah, 6.
Correct. Latics lost to QPR in the playoff semi-final of 2002-2003. QPR in turn lost... I've started, so I'll finish. QPR in turn lost to Cardiff in the final. But who did Cardiff beat in their semi-final to reach the final?
Bristol City.
Correct.
They were stinkers.
I know. That was the idea, Paul. But yeah. you got 4 correct out of a set of stinkers, and that's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Obviously, you didn't pass any. It wouldn't have mattered. No. There would have been no point asking me the answers and the questions. I should say, had he passed?
I've got another 4 or 5 that were queued up ready for Paul, and then I've got the same set of difficult questions for Paddy in a fortnight.
Fantastic. Good
Paddy's
stuff.
Got the books out and Wikipedia.
And well, that's it. You slight advantage.
We're in the local studies library for a fortnight, innit? So his kids will be in daycare and he'll be shutting himself away in the library.
Fantastic.
Well done, Andy. Good questions.
Yeah, cheers, Andy.
No worries. No, thank you for supplying the questions each week, Paul. It makes our life very easy. Yeah,
it does, and it's a very popular feature. Is Lassiter's Mind as well, so we do appreciate it. The listeners appreciate it. Testing our knowledge over the seasons. How many questions did you reckon that have we've been produced today, Andy?
Well, I've got in the first season or two. I'm not sure we kept them, we lost them, but I've got in this file here, which may be a season and a bit. I've got 667 questions that Paul has supplied.
There's probably over 1,000 then, isn't it? I think
probably. Yeah.
So thanks for all that, mate. Much appreciated. I would be interested to know from the listeners, if you could let us know on Twitter or in the comments, wherever you listen, how many questions did you get right from today's Lassiter's Mind? I'd be very impressed if you got one or even two. Maybe you had a lucky guess like Paul did with his Man United. For the first one, but yes, that's you need a bit of luck. You need a bit of luck sometimes, don't you? And bringing it back round to Latics and performances on the pitch and the Easter weekend. Paul, here's one. How do we usually get on over? We know that we usually don't do that well over Christmas. How do we usually get on over Easter?
Usually worse. The only one that stands out really was 87-88, we beat Blackburn 4-2 on Good Friday, and then beat Villa in the last minute at Villa Park when Villa were on the way to promotion from Division 2. I think
that was Frank Bunn, wasn't it?
Yeah, last minute. I think Tommy Wright got the other one. But I'm trying to think. There is one other decent Easter somewhere within the last few years, but we don't have a great record. There's a few 4-pointers there, but usually Easter's meant relegation battles for us historically. So even the playoff seasons, 86-87, I think we got 1 point. 02-03, we got 3 points because we lost at Wigan on the Monday. 06-07, I think it was 2 points, 2 draws, Bradford and Huddersfield, I think it was. And then last season, I can't remember how we did over Easter. How did we do? Oh, we beat Hartlepool, didn't we? And then we drew at York, so we got 4 points last season. So, not amazing.
How do you recall all those games? It's incredible.
The 1960s is definitely going to be up for revision, and I'm going to put some stinkers in Lassiter's Mind now. Just wait till next time you do it, Andy. I went easy on you. I did loads from your era. I did loads from your first season.
I know you did.
I just can't believe it how you throw me under the bus there. But it's all good fun.
Yeah. So, well, this year we had a decent Christmas, didn't we? So maybe we're on for a decent Easter. Who knows? I think just there you mentioned that who we might have played over, or who we played, and what stood out there was the proximity of the fixtures this year. It's crap. I mean, Colchester and MK Dons, you'd have thought that they would have been a bit more sensitive with the fixtures. Because obviously it's expensive, people have got commitments over Easter and things like that, so it's not ideal. But it is what it is. It's not going to change now. So if you are heading down to Colchester, fair play. It's a big slog. I'm not going this way. I'm going to try.
Well, you said a few weeks ago, Matt, that you would go to Colchester if we won every game between whenever you and if we'd have won at Crewe yesterday, I'd have been forcing you to go because
but we didn't, and therefore I don't have to go now. So that's good. I know. I wouldn't mind. I'd like to go. Don't get me wrong. It's just I'm going to sort of give myself a little bit of a break for a couple of days over Easter now instead. I want to go to every single game. I really do. It's fantastic to be in with a sniff at this stage in the season. I've worked it out. I think I'll have been to come the end of it I've missed one home game against Barnet because I was on holiday in January, and I think it'll be 13 away games. So I think that's perfectly respectable over a season. You can't make it all. You can't make it to every single game. I think Adam. I'll ask you, Paul, in a second where you're at with it. But Adam Kershaw, who has been on the podcast before and who sits or stands near me in the Rochdale Road end, he's on for 100% this season. So I'm sure there's a few others out there who are on for 100%. How are you getting on, Paul?
I've done 33 league games out of 39. The only other game I missed was Northampton in the Cup. So I've done best part of 40 already. I'm going to Colchester.
And are you heading down? Are you heading down? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going with the reprobates from the lower house. So
Right.
I'm on the booze bus, but I probably won't be drinking myself. But there you go. I think the only one I potentially miss MK Dons, but it depends on how soon we get back from where we're going. And I miss Newport because we're in Greece, but I'll be back in time for the playoffs.
Andy, you'll be at Colchester, I assume.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, it was easy enough for me from down here. So yeah, I'll be at Colchester. I'm gonna take myself up to Shrewsbury. I'm not in there, so I quite like to. I've never been to Shrewsbury's new ground, so I quite like to take that off.
Well, let's meet up there then. Let's meet up for Shrewsbury.
You're not missing much.
No, yeah.
The Boundary Park Alert System is sponsored by Pendle New Tech, a family-run Lancashire business you can rely on for everything fire safety related, including supply and installation, maintenance, testing, certification, alarms, risk assessments, like I said, anything fire safety related. But what do I know? Visit pendle-nu-tech.com and they'll sort you right out. Check the show notes for more information.
Andy, you were quite dismissive of our chances to make the playoffs a number of weeks ago. How are you feeling about it now? Are you saying it's? Do you think it's still a step too far, or do you think we're in with as good a chance as anybody else in the chasing pack?
Well, like Paul had said earlier, I felt that we'd rolled our luck a little bit in this run. Grimsby, Harrogate, and I thought we'd come unstuck. And I couldn't see us winning the games that we needed to catch everybody. That Notts County game in the week really did open my eyes a bit. And I was, pleasantly shocked and surprised at just how we blew Notts County away in that game. And we had a bit of luck with the sending off, I guess. But I was a little, my attitude was a little bit different on Wednesday morning. But and it hasn't been too much dented. I think in my own mind, I didn't want to put the muckers on it, so I didn't want to say to myself every time I was saying we weren't going to make it, we kept winning, and so I didn't want to change my story. We can definitely do it. I still think we'll come short, but it's going to go to the wire. Hopefully.
My thoughts are I don't think we'll get promoted, but that doesn't mean that I don't think we'll make the playoffs. We might make the playoffs. And you know what? It'd be exciting to go through those semi-finals. And I've been saying this that for a while now, that part of being a successful club is going through the disappointment of not quite making it. And I think it's good for teams. And it's a good experience, as long as, unlike in the past where we didn't build on it, particularly 06, 07, where we didn't have a playoff campaign until last year. Afterwards, you've got to keep making it. You've just got to keep showing up and keep being in there. And I fancy that's going to be what our, the future seasons are going to be like in League Two. I think we're going to be in there. We're going to be getting involved. We're going to be going for a top 3 finish next season, hopefully. If not, it'll be the playoffs. We'll finish higher than we did this season, wherever we finish this season. So there's absolutely loads and loads to look forward to.
I think it's important to point out as well, we've never played in a Football League playoff final. And the atmosphere around the club over the last couple of years is banishing these poor records. So if next time we do get in the playoffs, whether it be this season, next season, whatever, we are attempting to get into our first ever Football League playoff final. And if we get in the playoffs this season, we won't walk into them. It'll be the last minute against Accrington. Joe Garner will come off the bench and around back post and head one in because that's what we do. At Wembley last season, 2-1 down, dead on our feet. And what happens? We score 2 in 90 seconds. It's just because that's how Oldham Athletic do things. So,
Well, that gives us plenty to look forward to, Paul. I mean, that's why we were sort of talking about it a little bit earlier on about the last game of the season, and just to get it down to that, and for it to be one of those where if you were watching it or you're watching it on your phone, and depending on the results and how things stand, teams keep flitting and moving, that'd be fantastic. And if we make it like that, then great. If we don't, then it will have been brilliant to have been involved in it, and we'll all be disappointed. Obviously, we'll be gutted, but we'll get over that quick enough because we'll be really pleased to have been in that position in the first place. So I'd love that. I'd love it to go down to 3 or 4 teams all needing to win and all needing other results to go a certain way on the last game of the season, and that'd be a really exciting way to end the season. So so Andy, we'll share that together when you're up for Accrington on the last game of the season.
Well, we're supposed to be doing the squad pod straight after the game.
Well, we'll do a podcast anyway. We'll do a podcast. What it will contain will probably depend on what happens in the build up to that. But I'm looking forward to that. Paul, thanks for coming on, mate. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well done on Lassit's Mind.
Yeah.
Well, now you know what it's like for a more regular punter, if you like, getting a more. What did you get last? Did you do it before? Have you been on?
Yeah, I got eight last time, I think.
Yeah, you see, there you go. That's not normal. Well, the same for Paddy. It'll be a more humbling experience. But you're still the two to beat, aren't you? When it comes to Lassit's knowledge, there's nobody else out there that we've discovered yet who can compete. But if you know anyone listening, if you know anyone who could compete with Paul and Paddy, then please do let us know. Andy, thanks for coming up with those additional questions and for your input as always.
No worries. Cheers. Nice to see you, Paul.
And you, Andy. I'll see you next week then at Colchester.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Right. Come on, you Blues. Let's bounce back against Colchester at Easter. Have a lovely Easter break. If you're off, if you're going anywhere, if you're going to Colchester, whatever it is, have a great time. And we'll see you for the phone-in on Thursday, actually, which will be the night before the Colchester game. So thanks for listening, everyone.
Hey, Dave, did you know that listeners can now buy us a coffee or any other kind of hot beverage?
Ooh.
What's your favourite hot beverage, Dave?
A macchiato.
And how do you like your macchiato?
Black with lots of milk. Oh.
No cream?
No.
Well, if you want to buy Dave a
macchiato,
then go to buymeacoffee.com/We Are Oldham. I'll just have a Nescafe.
Ooh. Thank you, listeners.